What's up, you all? What's up, Rena? What's up, Big Shosy? What's up, YouTube? Let's just get right into it, man. Let's just get right into it, man.
Put a trigger warning on this video because there is mention of suicide. But I need you to share this, engage with this post because we need to get this word out. Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey died on Monday, January 8th by suicide. And this was as a result of documented bullying.
Oh my God. Have you heard this story?
The death of Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey has sparked outrage from LU alumni across the country who now want Mosley to resign. As KRCG 13's Lauren Turman reports, new documentation from Bailey herself identifies Lincoln as, quote, where it started and where it ended.
The passing of Lincoln University Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey, has rocked both Jefferson City
What's up,
and
Confident
university
Disciple?
alums. Now, new documents are surfacing from Bailey herself on the day she took her own life, outlining University President Dr. John Mosley as causing, quote, enough harm and mental damage.
That whole day, I was really beating myself up because I'm like, if I would have read the entire email, maybe I could have saved her life.
Candia Bailey graduated from Lincoln in 1998. Her friends and loved ones say she was a loving, generous person who radiated positivity.
She's the type of friend where, she can just tell by talking to you in your voice that something's wrong. And she would get up in the middle of the night and she would drive 2-3 hours to get to you, to be there for you. It did not matter what she was going through. She always smiled. She was always positive.
But soon after she took the position of Vice President of Student Affairs in May of 2023, her...
Okay, so this young lady committed suicide, and she's blaming the school. No, so this is where we. So again, if a person is going to take their life, no individual can be blamed because clearly there's something wrong with a person that wants to take their life. This woman could have taken many measures, like even leave the school, not work there, file it's so. But to take her life and everybody's blaming this man is insane to me. I just don't buy it. Everybody's saying she was bullied to death, but if we go to Dr. I really want to find an independent news source. I'm trying to just find an okay, here we go. Lincoln University of Missouri welcomes Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey as new vice president for student affairs. This took place on April 17th, 2023. So you mean to tell me that this man was able to bully her and her take her life in less than a year? It's cap. Something was already wrong with her. She just wanted an excuse. People feel suicidal and they want a legit reason to do it. It's easy to blame the white man. And nobody's going to question her taking her life, even though she's wrong for doing it. It's selfish. So again, she's a black queen, Mother Earth, goddess. This white man drove her to take her life. I just don't, it's cap. but she was brought on April 17th, 2023. Vice President of Student Affairs. Lincoln University of Missouri recently announced LU alum Dr. Antoinette Bailey, 98, class of 98, as the new Vice President for Student Affairs. Her start date is May 1st. A longtime advocate and supporter of HBCUs, Candia Bailey says she is excited to return to LU to give back and enhance the student experience. Lincoln University believed in me and provided numerous opportunities. She says, I'm where I'm at today because of the opportunities afforded at LU. A native of Chicago, Candia Bailey has worked in higher education for 23 years. In her previous role, she was Vice President of Student Affairs, Chief Diversity Officer, and Title IX Coordinator at Elms College in Chicopee, Massachusetts. She has also served as Associate Dean of Students and Senior Project Coordinator at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Assistant Vice President of Student Affairs, Housing, Residence, Life at Towns University, Director of Academic Excellence at North Carolina A&T University, and Assistant Director of University Housing at North Carolina State University. Candia Bailey earned a BS in Sociology from Lincoln University, an MA in Rehabilitation Counseling and Disability Studies from Michigan State University, and a PhD in Leadership Studies from North Carolina A&T State University. She is also a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and the Order of the Eastern Stars. So she has a very lengthy resume. Now you trying to convince me that this woman did all of that, and the white man drove her to take her life at the black school. Now keep in mind, she's been at white institutions and HBCUs, and I don't even want to say white institutions. She's been at the regular colleges and HBCUs all this time. We're talking about she's been doing this for 23 years. And you mean to tell me from May to January, so we're talking about May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So we're talking about in 8 months, the white man drove her to take her life. All this experience, all these ups and downs, all these challenges in life, and this white man was able to drive her to take her life in 8 months is cap. It's cap. It's cap. Thank you, Paul. The devil made her do it. This man, they're talking about he was bullying her. What is bullying? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm not buying it.
Treatment that she received from the president of the university. This is John B. Mosley. He serves as the 21st president of Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. According to HBCU Buzz, sources state that Dr. Bailey was left unsupported after countless attempts to make known of the bullying and mistreatment. And before her passing, she also discussed in a letter the quote, stigmatized bullying she faced from the president and other leadership officials. And although Dr. Bailey is no longer with us, we can still help her and we can still fight for her. Below are 2 email addresses that we can use.
And think about this, right? Think about how easy it is to blame somebody white for black suicide. Think about how, so if a white person, now think about it, she's saying it's bullying, but what if she wasn't doing her job? Like we talk about bullying, but what if she wasn't doing her job? Why is it not a consideration? I want to see the letter. Because what they're saying don't make any sense. It's a lot of holes in the story. Now she shaved. Now listen now. She had that hair shaved off. We all know when they shave that hair off, that's an indicator that a storm is a coming. When they shave that wig piece off, that is a good indicator that a storm is a coming. I'm sorry. I'm going to use discernment. I'm not going to use the narrative. Listen at this. There's a renewed push to address mental health in Black women after a Lincoln University administrator died by suicide. Now, the real play in all of this is to not hold Black women accountable. That's the goal. The goal is for Black women to have all the excuses to just reign in corporate America. That's the goal. The goal is for Black women to have impunity in the workplace. You can't say anything to them. Everything can be considered bullying. I mean, it's the ultimate play. Because clearly, something was wrong with this woman. Clearly. Their renewed push to address mental health in Black women after Lincoln University administrator died by suicide. There are growing calls for the removal of current Lincoln University president, Dr. John Mosley, after Administrator Dr. Antoinette Bailey sent him a letter alleging that he harassed and bullied her. Let's see. I want the letter. Yeah, something was wrong with her. She looked crazy. I'm sorry. Listen, no disrespect to this woman or her family or her friends and loved ones. I'm looking at this woman and I can see that something is wrong. I'm looking in her eyes and I can see that something is wrong. She don't look happy. That smile don't mean she's happy. And Black folks don't have any kind of wisdom or discernment. So Black folks can't see none of this that I can see. This woman does not look well. She doesn't. She actually doesn't even look physically well. She looks tired and worn down. She looks stressed. She looks stressed. Am I tripping? She don't look well. Like, look at her. It's like she doesn't look well. Like she physically does not look well. Maybe she looks like she might already be sick though. So she wrote a letter stating that she was bullied. They're gonna try to get this man fired and replace him with a Black woman. Mark my words. This white guy is going to resign. He's going to resign. They're going to replace him with a white woman, a Black woman. Watch. I'm trying to figure out what she alleged that he did. This story is it's just so much propaganda. It's just pure propaganda. It's pure propaganda. I can't really find any stories. Let me see if I can find the letter. Let me see if I can find the letter. See if I can find the letter. I want to read the letter because the letter gonna let me know what's going on. But the fact that she wrote a letter, think about it. If she was really getting bullied, why wouldn't she just meet with him? Am I tripping?
Disturbance.
Nothing could have prepared the officer for what he saw when Anna answered the door.
And she was covered in blood. And he thought, again, that she was the victim. And so he starts looking at.
I don't know what this is. It's something else. So the presidency could leave a. I want to read the emails. This is how you know it's cap, because I can't find nothing on this. I can't find nothing. Okay, I think I found some here. He about to lose his job. He about to lose his job. Here we go. Y'all ready for it? Y'all ready to read it? Let's read it. Let's read it. Let's read it, y'all. Here we go. Let's read it. Let's read it. Let's read it. Let's read it. Now, this is from Dr. Antoinette Bailey. Now, here we go. This is a letter on January the 9th to Mr. Victor B. Paisley, president of Lincoln University Board of Curators. Here we go. Dear President Paisley, unfortunately, I find myself with the need to inform you that it is my firm belief our beloved institution is heavy laden with despair, discontent, and disappointment regarding the loss of. No, that's not it. No, where is her letter? No, this ain't it. This ain't it. I need to see this woman's email. Where is this woman's email? Now, I can find the letter they sent to him that somebody else sent to him, but where is the letter? Where's the email that she sent? Ben Crumpton got a hold to it. It's over. Uh-oh. He got a black wife. Oh, man, here we go. Oh, man. Listen, y'all, I'm gonna do some digging on this, and I'm gonna come back to this because I need to find that email. I'm already calling Cap, though, because there's where is the email? I typed in the email, and the email is not coming up. This is pure propaganda. They're trying to get this man out of this school. They want a black. Y'all tell me ain't no such thing as black privilege. Y'all crazy. Black folks blaming somebody for suicide. I'm gonna have to get back to this one because it's just, oh my goodness. Let's continue, man. Goodness. I'll be back with it. I'll be back.
Black people have rage. The church suppresses that rage. That's wrong. Black people's rage should be channeled to changing the conditions that Because
Okay.
there is intolerance here, and it's not on my part. It's on the part of the religious establishment.
It's interesting, the lack of respect that is obviously evident with us is due, I think, in part because of the fact that if one does not believe in God, then one is not bound to common standards of decency and respect for the human person.
How can you say that I'm not bound to common
No one is
standards of
bound.
decency?
There is
I'm sitting here fully
no
clothed.
motivation
I
to do
obey the
anything
law.
that is right and
I am
proper.
a law-abiding citizen.
There are no consequences.
I care about my fellow
you,
human
Father.
beings. How can you say I have no standards?
Okay.
It's slander. That's what it is. You don't know my standards, and you don't know my values.
The hatred,
you
the
are there
contempt that you
to
have for me
condemn
is so evident, and that speaks louder.
So again, and somebody said it, you know, this is a spirit. And this spirit that she has right here is what is prevalent among black women in America today. This is why black women are used for the social justice movement. This is why black women run the social justice movement, is because they have the spirit to do it. It's a very rebellious, it's really a rebellious spirit towards God. That's really what it is. It's like it's rebellion towards God, and that's why they're used. I remember I read the BLM. I read one of their little things in their mission statement, and they said they wanted basically to use single mothers as like the foot soldiers. That's what they said. They wanted to use them. Their main job would be to protest. Their main job would be to protest, to riot and loot. And they would stay in little communities. Let's see if I can find it in here. Fannie Willis, same spirit. Listen what they say about the women. Hold on. Let me think. Oh, here we go. We make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so they can mother in private, even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree the mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. So as you see, they don't want the women working. They put in here double shifts, but that's foolish. They don't want the women working. They want the women to be able to participate in social, what they call public justice work. So they want to be able to go out into the streets and tear stuff up and then have a network of people taking care of the children. Communism. They all live together. They all share the responsibility taking care of the children. Like this, it's communism. But this is what they want for black women. So you ask the question, black women at first and eventually all single women. If you remember back in 2020, they were interviewing a lot of white women that were single mothers. And if you just go back and just look at some of the footage, you'll see it. And the white women kept giving the same script. I'm a single mother. It's hard. It's like it was the same script over and over again. So their target audience is the single mom, the single, overweight, man-hating, feminist mom. That's their target, because that's the kind of spirit you need to destroy a nation. And we know this because there's a saying that said, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." And the Bible says something about whether you be on the roof of the house than to be in a house with a contentious woman. So again, when a woman is on this side of the fence, she can destroy everything. But let's continue.
Look at a flower and say, isn't it beautiful? A God must have made it. That is jumping to conclusions. That
Who do you
flower
think
is there.
created that flower then?
That flower
would you
grew from
explain?
a seed.
And where did
Where
the seed come from?
The seed came from the parent of the flower. And
And where did that come from?
I don't know.
Obviously, you don't know, and that's exactly your problem.
And
you don't
I'm
know.
not going to make up stories about it. I'm going to admit that I don't know the answer, and I'm going to continue to explore this world and find out.
The great Greek writer Socrates said the beginning of wisdom is the admission of ignorance, so I'm happy to hear that you don't know.
I do not wish to live under your narrow codes of lifestyle, which says that I must have a man over me to support me, which says that I am a sinner and not worthy of perfection, not even worthy of striving to even think of trying for it.
Again, this what she's verbalizing is what Fani Willis is. What she's verbalizing is what that woman that committed suicide is. This is the spirit they have. That spirit she says, I don't know. But when she says, I don't know, she don't even make God a possibility. She says, I don't know where the seed came from, but she won't even make God a possibility. Like, if you don't know, then how was God off the table? Think about that. Like, if you don't know, then how are you removing God from the table? I'll tell you, it's a spirit. It's an anti-God / anti-Christ spirit.
And yes, Jesus loves me. And people started shouting. You know what I mean? Yes, yeah. People were shouting. And it hit me as I was sitting there. My God, as a black militant, I have nothing stronger to offer than Jesus.
Baby, what we did with Jesus, we took that cat over and made him ours. This has been believed by millions of people
who lived
and died by it for 2,000 years. Yeah. And when you attack it, you're accused of being blasphemous. I think the legend itself is a blasphemy.
Yeah. It's not only
why the Son of God got to be born immaculately? Aren't we all the sons of God?
But we're not all the sons of God.
Well, it depends on what you mean by God. Because God is our responsibility.
Well, I agree with that.
No.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize. They think that we are God's responsibility.
No.
But it's one of him and what, 30 million of us.
That's right. And God's only hope is us.
You hear this? James Baldwin said, God's only hope is us. So in other words, what he's really saying is that God lives in the imaginations of man and woman. That's what he's saying. He's saying God is in there. God can only live. God's only hope is to exist in the minds of people. Otherwise, God doesn't exist. You just heard him. He just said God depends on us. So he's already put himself above God. And Nikki Giovanni too. The irony of this is these two people, one is a carpet muncher and one is a pole dancer. I mean, the irony of these two people speaking on the direction of black people is insane to me. They have no vested interest in black people at all. It's crazy. James Baldwin, he didn't like the white man, but he loved the white man's cigarettes. Imagine you scream at the top of your lungs, America's racist, but you're addicted to the white man's poison. Does anybody see the irony in that? The irony that you're saying that the system is corrupt and it's racist, but the system is giving you a poison and you're addicted to it. So how are you going to march and fight for social justice, and then when you go home, you lighten up a cigarette, it's going to kill you? The white man's cigarette. So you fighting the white man on one end just to succumb to him on the other end. So you got a white man drilling, and you got the white man's poison in your body. You can't take too much more. Come on. He's not smoking native cigarettes. He's not rolling up his own tobacco. He's going to the store and he's buying the white man's cigarettes. That's what he's doing. But the irony of these two, and you know they're communists because they're anti-God. The easiest way to figure out somebody is communist, they don't believe in God. Most of your black social justice warriors, weekend warriors, woke weekend warriors, most of your advocates, most of your revolutionaries, they don't believe in God. They don't. The Black Panthers, they didn't believe in God. The civil rights movement wasn't centered in God. Come on, what are we talking about? The Nation of Islam don't believe in God. Think about it. What organization believes in God? None. None of them do.
It's true.
No. If we don't make it, he ain't going to make it either.
You heard that? If we don't make it, he ain't gonna make it either. I'll tell you why he said that again. Because God lives in the minds of the people. Hey, listen, y'all. This clip, I didn't mean to click on this. This clip, I watched this about 50 times. Just imagine, right? You got a person playing a superhero, and he's trying to walk in the doorway, and his big toe gets stuck on the edge of and the kids start screaming. Oh my goodness. Watch his toe. Look at the teeth. Oh my goodness. Oh. When I tell y'all, I watched that thing about 50 times. This dude is playing the Incredible Hulk, but his big toe got caught and he went down. Oh my goodness. One more time. Hold on. And what's crazy is like, he didn't just fall. Like he fell face first. He didn't brace his fall. Like his big toe got stuck on the ledge. He fell face first and couldn't even roll over. Like the children start screaming. When I tell you, I watched this thing 50 times and was crying. Hold on. Just watch the kids when he falls. Though. The little hop and everything. It's the kids. The kids was there. Think about this now. The kids are terrified because when he made his entrance and he jumped up and down, they was excited. But when he fell, they knew he was a mere mortal. They was terrified. Oh my goodness. They got traumatized by that man falling face first. This is out of control. Anyway, Yeah, it's a little humor. Oh my goodness. It's just funny because his big toe gets stuck. It's like he almost paused, like he just knew he's about to fall. Leatherface said they thought he died. And listen, it looks like he died though. When you watch it, he jumped up. I'm about to throw up, man. Oh man, I'm about to throw up. Yeah, they thought he died because he hit the ground and he just laid there. Oh man. Boy, them kids was like, nah, All right, my bad. Let's continue. Let's continue. Now, this is over in Ireland. I think it's Ireland. It's this African migrant slaps white woman in the face after she refuses his perverted advances. Another migrant that kicks her from behind. They all laugh. These are very sick people. So this whole inclusion thing, this whole equality thing, what they're doing is they're, again, it's a culture war. So they're trying to flood these Western nations, America included, with immigrants. Now, contrary to popular belief, these immigrants don't assimilate. They bring their own culture. But more than likely, a third world country's culture is going to clash with American culture. I don't care what nobody tells you all. America has a high set of standards for the common person. America has a high set of standards for the common person. Man, what you mean, Black? This country is racist. No. When you walk down the street on the sidewalk, you expect the sidewalk to be clear. When you're driving your car, you expect the lanes to be clear. You expect the traffic lights to work. You expect folks to obey the traffic laws. You expect to see the police. You expect a lot of things in America that don't happen in other countries. America has a very high standard of living. And some folks will say, what about the food? You ain't got to eat that food. In America, you can grow your own food. You can eat organic. You can go to the farmer's market. America has a high standard of living. And so when these immigrants come over here, they're coming from a place that has a low standard of living. I don't care what they tell you. You go to India right now, they bathing in trash. They bathing in sewage. I don't care what they tell you. They are bathing in sewage in India. So again, the standard of living in America is high. There is order, there is structure. You have an expectation in America. You expect things to be working. And when they don't work, you start complaining. And in other countries, they just deal with it. If it's a big hole in the road, they just drive around it. So again, these people come to America, and I'm going to say it, they have not earned the right to be in America. You know why? Because they don't appreciate it. Let's watch it again. So one guy slaps the woman and the other guy kicks the woman. Now keep in mind, when you let these immigrants come over here, you let them come over here off of a false virtue. So you can't really punish them. Does that make sense? Does it make sense that when they come over here, They're coming over here for a false virtue. And I know what I'm saying sounds bad. I know it does. This is not about race, though. This is about culture and the way we do things. These immigrants that come over here don't care about America. They don't. They don't care about you. They just don't. They're not coming here to be Americans. They're coming here to take advantage. That's something different, a different mindset. The person that comes over here legally to become an American, I respect it. But the person sneaking over the border, I don't respect it because I know if I try to do it, they're going to knock my head off. The same reason the same way I'm talking now is the same way they be talking about me trying to go over there. They would say I had bad intentions to come start sticking to their country. I talked to my friend in New York. She's in Harlem, and she said it's insane. They taking over. She said no permits, setting up shop, just flooding and overrunning the community. And again, they're bringing their culture. Now, when you go to China, you got to be a Chinese person. You can't go to China being American. Matter of fact, you can't go to no other country and be American. When we go to Rome, we got to do as the Romans do. But it's funny, when they come over here, they ain't got to do what we doing. They do what they want to do. And I know it sounds bad. I know I sound like a white Republican, white conservative. I know I sound racist. But it's not about race, though. It's about culture. We have a way of living in America. We live a certain way. Whether you like it or not, we got a high standard of living. Matter of fact, somebody just said it. Jenny Jennifer East of Washington, she just said it. Even our pets have a high standard of living. Even the pets. So think about it. People's pets in America live better than most of the world. People's pets in America live better than most of the world. We have a very high standard of living here. But when these folks come over here, they don't come over here with good intentions. Why? Because you wouldn't sneak in. If you were coming with good intentions, you would come in the right way because you would respect the country. Sneaking into a country is the ultimate sign of disrespect. You say, well, what about people that's, in their country and they got to seek asylum in America? Well, I would say this. If the people have to come to America as a safe haven, then change the rhetoric. Stop saying that America is the worst country in the world. Stop saying America's racist. If you mean to tell me these people are fleeing death and they can come here and have a better life and you're still calling America racist, I rebuke it. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that they would die in their country. They got to come over here and then also say America's the worst. We're not going to do that. Can't have it both ways. Either America is great and we're going to let folks come over here, or it's not. And if it's not, then stay over there then. If it's not, then stay over there. The dude said, if black folks built America, why would you allow these people to just come jump in front of your kids? I'll tell you why. Because black folks didn't build America. You know how I know? Because black people don't appreciate America. If black folks really built America, they would love America. If black people really built America, they would love it. The fact that black folks hate America lets you know they didn't build it. Because there's no way I would build a house with my own hands, with blood, sweat, and tears, and then say I hate it. There's no way. It's impossible. So if black folks built America, they wouldn't hate America. Because the first thing they would say is, we built the country, we love it. This country is great. How could America be bad if it allowed black people to build it? Doesn't make any sense. So the reason why black people let these foreigners come over here is because black folks are not invested in America. That's why. That's why. That is why.
Hey! Você fura? Você fura para você?
Now I'm gonna read this comment to this video. I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna read this comment.
Hey! Você fura? Você fura para você?
This is what this person said. The person's name is Wanijiru Najaya. Wanijiru Jaya. Najaya. Probably Nigerian. Africans were ancient Greeks and Romans. They built all roads and bridges in England. And according to the mayor of London, they also built the great city of London. But for whatever reason, Africans are somehow unable to build even the simplest roads and bridges in Africa. Africa has failed Dominican Republic, Congo. So this is in the Congo. What this person says is spot on. And again, Pastor Manning says that black folks had the most achievements under white supervision. These folks are left to their own devices in Africa right here in the Congo. And they can't even build a simple bridge across a river. Like, can't do simple roads. Go look at Haiti. These people are left to their own devices and they can't produce anything that's even simple. I had one girl, she stopped following me because I said what did the Africans build? I said, all we had to show for Africa, the great things are the pyramids. Y'all talk about ancient Kemet. Where is it? Show it to me. The pyramids are still standing. Where's ancient Kemet? You go to Africa right now, those skyscrapers, those big buildings, they ain't built by, that's the Chinese doing that over there. So again, I'm going to read it again. Wanijiru Najaya. Africans were ancient Greeks and Romans. They built all roads and bridges in England. And according to the mayor of London, they also built the great city of London. But for whatever reason, Africans are somehow unable to build even the simplest roads and bridges in Africa. Again, people, something is not making sense. In this, so let me ask you a question. In the past, let's just say 100 years, what have black people built that has been great? Tell me, what have black people built? Give me a skyscraper that black folks built, just a skyscraper, or even a bridge. Give me a bridge or a skyscraper that black folks have built in America. It doesn't make any sense, people. That's all. And it's okay to say that. Like, listen, my worth and my value doesn't come from somebody doing something in the past. It doesn't. Because God cares about my future, not my past. So again, I don't feel any kind of way because Africans can't build these bridges and roads. I don't feel bad about it at all. It don't affect me at all. You said call. You need Sabir Bey on this live. I dare you. Sabir Bey can't show me nothing that black folks built, and I'm just going back 100 years. You got the Chinese building. You got the Japanese building. You got the Europeans building. You got the Indians building. You got everybody building except black people. So again, like I don't know what the debate's gonna be about. We can all agree that black folks ain't building nothing. That's a fact. That's a fact. Black folks ain't building nothing. And I'm tired of hearing black folks trying to take credit for all these people. All y'all do is just, you see somebody doing something great and you say they was black. They ain't trying to hear all that. These folks can't provide you any tangible evidence. The fact still remains the greatest monuments in Africa are in Egypt. This is the same place that they said they tell you they not y'all. Matter of fact, let's go to it real quick. Let's go to it. Let's hear from an Egyptian. Let's see what she say.
Scientific proof that ancient Egyptians weren't black. The Afrocentric movement claims that the great pharaohs were actually what they called black or Central Western African, and modern Egyptians are just the invaders. Here is why this is false. A study done in 2017 by 2 German universities examines the DNA of 160 Egyptian mummies whose life span over 1,300 time period. This was the period that Egypt was heavily conquered by Romans, Assyrians, and Greeks. The genes of these mummies were consistent over the period. That means that Egyptians were able to preserve their genetic pool and did little to zero mixing with these conquerors. What was even more shocking and ironic, how they found that the mummies had 0 sub-Saharan African genes. Modern Egyptians had 15 to 20% African genes. That means that modern Egyptians are actually more black than their ancestors ever were. How ironic is that? You're black people. We know you've been through a lot and you're probably going through an identity crisis, but please look for your identity somewhere else.
Now, you got an Egyptian telling y'all, I'm gonna play this again, but let's see. Where are most of the pyramids found? Where are most of the pyramids found? While pyramids are commonly associated with Egypt, the nation of Sudan has 220 extant pyramids, the most numerous in the world. Nubian pyramids were constructed, roughly 240 of them, at 3 sites in Sudan to serve as tombs for the kings and queens of the Napa and Meroe. So now the 3 great pyramids are located in Egypt, but the smaller ones, the very small ones, are located in Sudan. Now there are some pyramids in South America. There may even be some here, but this is where I call cap. Anytime it comes to black people doing something, there's always this notion that, oh, the white man hid it from us, they destroyed it. It's cap. It's cap. If you go to Africa, they can trace down all their dynasties and lineages. They can do it. With all that colonization and conquering, Africa can still trace back their lineage. It's cap. I'll play it again.
Here is scientific proof that ancient Egyptians weren't black. The Afrocentric movement claims that the great pharaohs were actually what they called Black or Central Western African, and modern Egyptians are just the invaders. Here is why this is false. A study done in 2017 by 2 German universities examines the DNA of 160 Egyptian mummies.
Now imagine 2 scientists putting in the research to extract DNA from 160 mummies. And then somebody black on my page, Instagram, talking about they lying. Just discredit the funding they had to get, discredit the long man hours, discredit all their years, just discredit everything they lying. And then somebody that ain't even left the block gonna tell me that these is 2 scientists. And what I find most oftentimes is that these scientists and professors and stuff, they don't care. They're not trying to cover up the truth. Because the goal is in their field is to find the discovery. That's what makes you popular and credible. That's what gets you the funding if you discover something that nobody else knew. So their goal is to uncover and discover things. But just imagine these 2 German scientists doing all this work from the time they was children. I'm going to be a scientist one day. I'm going to be an archaeologist one day. Just do all that work, all that painstaking work, just to present it to the world and somebody black say, oh, they lying. That type of spirit is satanic and demonic. That is a demonic spirit. That is evil and wicked. Let's continue.
Whose lifespan over 1,300 time period. This was the period that Egypt was heavily conquered by Romans, Assyrians, and Greeks.
So they looked over 1,000-year time period. 1,000 years. Listen, Selena Chavez, listen, with all due respect, if you're going to point me to somebody's page, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to their page because I don't believe they got the truth. They don't. You know, I got the Bible for the truth. I go to them pages for entertainment. Yes, Angel, it is very different. In on YouTube, there's a lot more maturity. There's a lot more civility. There's a lot more patience. A lot more understanding context. Instagram is pure emotional. You know, bring them on your live. Just an emotional reaction. Like I'm gonna stop my whole show to bring somebody on my show to argue with them. It's like it's just delusion. So it's a lot more delusion to Instagram because it's just simple access. You know, you got to go to YouTube. You got to set stuff up. You got to get stuff in order. You got to do a lot of stuff to be on YouTube for an hour. But Instagram, I can just hit the live, but I can just run my mouth. So the people, so black folks love Instagram live. I can just hit live and just get to run my mouth. But YouTube takes a little more thought. So the audiences are different, very different. But yeah.
Genes of these mummies were consistent over the period. That means that Egyptians were able to preserve.
Let's go. So let me find this real quick. Oh man, hold on 1 second, y'all. Hold on, y'all. So, so I'll go to the article right now. Let her finish real quick.
Their genetic pool and did little to zero mixing with these conquerors. What was even more shocking and ironic, how they found that the mummies had zero sub-Saharan African genes. Modern Egyptians had 15 to 20% African genes. That means that modern Egyptians are actually more black than their ancestors ever were. How ironic is that? They're black people. We know you've been through a lot and you're probably going through an identity crisis, but please, look for your identity somewhere else.
So the person asked, the person said, they said, pull it up. So I'm gonna pull it up. This is what they said, pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up right here. And what we have, let's see if we can just play this real quick. It's not working. Okay, it wouldn't let me play the video for some reason. But ancient Egyptians and their modern counterparts share less in common than you might think. That is, at least genetically, a team of scientists have found. Researchers from the University of Tübingen and the Max Planck Institute of Science and Human History in Jena, both in Germany, have decoded the genome of ancient Egyptians for the first time with unexpected results. Publishing its findings in Nature Communications, the study concluded that preserved remains found in Absur el-Malik, Middle East, were closest genetic relatives of the Neolithic and Bronze Age populations from the Near East, Anatolia, and Eastern Mediterranean Europeans. Modern Egyptians, by comparison, share much more DNA than sub-Saharan populations. The findings have excuse me. The findings have turned years of theory on its head, causing Egyptologists to reevaluate the region's history while unlocking new tools for scientists working in the field, correcting past errors. Depending on which way you see it, ancient Egyptians have the privilege of hegemony. I'm saying that wrong. Of being one of the most invested peoples of antiquity. Scientists have virtually undressed mummies diagnosed from beyond the grave and exposed miscarriages and 3,000-year-old scams. Extracting genome data is a new frontier for Egyptologists, however. Scientists took 166 bone samples from 151 mummies dating from approximately 1400 BC to AD 400, extracting DNA from 90 individuals and mapping the full genome in 3 cases. So these people looked up over 1,000 years worth of genetics. Now, guess what? They're thinking that the Egyptians will be closer linked to the sub-Saharan African populations. That's all the Africans that y'all claim to be from. Yeah. So the sub-Saharan Africans are what they thought was going to be the link to these Egyptians, but it wasn't. That means the Egyptians were not mixing with the sub-Saharan Africans. They weren't mixing. This is what they're saying. So again, and they even mention in here how much of it was what? What they say? They said it was, hold on. They said it was, they said it was, What they just say? They said a word. I like the word they used. Scientists have virtually undressed mummies, diagnosed from beyond the grave, and exposed miscarriages and 3,000-year-old scams. So yeah. So the young lady that was Egyptian, she just basically said, y'all got y'all own culture, leave our culture alone. And what y'all don't understand is that you all indulge in Black culture. So people are going to go through hell and high water to prove they're not a part of you. So let me put it in layman's terms. So in layman's terms, Black culture, and you all saying you all ran everything and you all are everything, you all built everything in the world, that makes people say, okay, wait a minute. They're crazy. I don't want to be a part of that. Let's find out the truth. So you guys are actually driving folks to not live off of myth and propaganda. You're actually forcing people to actually get into the lab and find out who's who and what's what, just based on y'all indulging in Black culture, because y'all want to be able to say you built everything, but then indulge in Black culture. You can't have it both ways. So, yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but y'all didn't build them pyramids. I said it. Get mad all you want. You didn't build them. Get mad because you didn't build them. Let's continue.
Western countries, Ireland's fertility rate is below replacement level, declining by 20% in just the last decade. But despite a low birth rate, the Irish population continues to grow every year due to immigration. The 2022 census shows that 20% of the population is foreign-born. Mohammed is now the most popular baby boy name in the town of Galway. The European Migration Network reported a 415% increase in applications for international protection in Ireland. A total of 141,600 people arrived in the country in the year leading up to April 2023. Considering that Ireland's population is just 5 million, the effects of that many people entering the country in just 1 year will be nearly 3 times greater than the 3.8 million people who have entered the US since Joe Biden took office in 2021. This comes as Ireland is experiencing a rapidly worsening homelessness crisis with almost 12,000 people on the street.
So again, now the Irish, right? They love their country. They love their culture and their traditions. But if they're the minority in the country, then they're going to lose the country. You see, everybody's okay with this immigration stuff because they're invading white nations. Think about how evil and wicked it is for Black people to say, we want our own space, but white people can't have their own space. If a Black person says, I am stressed out from white people, I'm tired, everybody says, we understand. If a white person says, I am stressed out from dealing with you, I need a break, they're racist. So you see, all of this really is just a push against white, because the goal is to get rid of white people, because white people represent the standard. These people are going to these white countries because these white people are civilized. I'm going to say it again. These people are fleeing their country, running to white people because the white people are civilized. Everything they tell you about white people, they savage, they murder, they evil, they racist, all this stuff. But yet in your darkest hour of need, you run to white people. Somebody is lying. Somebody is lying. The reason why these folks want to flood these white countries is because these white folks have some sense. That's why. They know if I go to the white country, I ain't got to worry about 20 things. They can walk down the street in these white countries and be okay. No problem. What's that one country where they leave the children outside while they go inside and shop? Was it Denmark? Was it Finland? One of them countries where they leave the children in the stroller and go inside and shop. So these other nations, these people of color, they flee to these white countries because these white folks have some sense. There's structure and there's order. That's why they go. That's why they go. And then to turn around and call these people racist is really an offense to God, honestly. Y'all are not going to those countries to do like the Romans. Y'all are going there to be yourself. You're going there to indulge in your culture in peace. All your decadence, because the assumption is that when somebody comes to another country from a third world country, when they come to a white nation, they're already virtuous. They're good people. They're loving. It's cap. It's cap. It's cap.
Like most Western countries, Ireland's fertility rate is below replacement level, declining by 20% in just the last decade. But despite a low birth rate, the Irish population continues to grow every year due to immigration. The 2022 census shows that 20% of the population is foreign-born. Mohammed is now the most popular baby boy name in the town of Galway. The European Migration Network reported a 415% increase in applications for international protection in Ireland. A total of 141,600 people arrived in the country in the year leading up to April 2023. Considering that Ireland's population is just 5 million, the effects of that many people entering the country in just 1 year will be nearly 3 times greater than the 3.8 million people who have entered the US since Joe Biden took office in 2021. This comes as Ireland is experiencing a rapidly worsening homelessness crisis with almost 12,000 people on the street.
And again, it is not a racial issue. It is a cultural clash. They said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. These people are not going to Rome and doing as the Romans. They're going to Rome and they're saying we're going to do it how we did in our country. It's not how that works. You can say what you want to say. Believing that a person is virtuous or righteous because they're not white is satanic. It's satanic. And white people have the right to preserve their countries. White people have the right to preserve their countries.
Plain English, the allegation here is that Miss Fani Willis, instead of using a lawyer with actual experience in RICO cases, instead hired a man that she was having an affair with to prosecute President Trump. She assigned him to be a special prosecutor in order to avoid going through the normal approval process for an outside attorney. She then subsequently paid him a hefty amount in taxpayer dollars, while he, in turn, took her on beautiful vacations to California, Florida, and the Caribbean. And here's the cherry on top. just when you thought it couldn't get any shadier. Included among the exhibits in this court filing is this little gem right here, in which Mr. Nathan Wade charged the county $2,000 in order to travel and to meet with the White House counsel. In practical terms, this is the Fulton District Attorney's lead prosecutor in the Trump case, who also happens to be her romantic partner, charging taxpayers a cool $2,000 in order to travel to talk to Joe Biden's White House lawyers about prosecuting Joe Biden's political opponent. And if you thought that was interesting, well, hit that subscribe button and get more videos just like this.
Now somebody told me, somebody said that basically Fani, they reminded her that she was black. What black folks don't understand is all of the black folks participating in this stuff, they're not good people from the jump. So it's not hard to figure out what, like, so in other words, the Democrats are going to pick somebody that's already like them. They're going to pick somebody of low character, wicked. So this is nothing. You can't find a righteous black leader. You can't. And you do find one, they're going to call him a sellout. So again, you know, I thought about something the other day and I said, if everybody believes a narrative, then it's not true. If everybody believes a narrative, then it is not true. So again, we saw what Fani Willis is about. But this person made it about race. It's not about race at all. It's not about black or white. It's really about, again, this is a culture. Black people select compromised leadership. And I keep saying this. Black people will never pick a righteous leader. They won't. They won't. And I wish I had my
can celebrate Martin Luther King Day? Well, considering the fact that he attacked key doctrines of the Christian faith, the answer would be a resounding no. You see, Martin Luther King, although advertising himself as an American Baptist pastor, was actually a Marxist communist who hated the Word of God. Now, you don't have to go very far to see this. You can go online and read his papers where he explicitly attacks key doctrines of the Christian faith. For example, when writing about the resurrection, he states, from a literary, historical, and philosophical point of view, this doctrine raises many questions. In fact, the external evidence for the authenticity of this doctrine is found wanting. And if that wasn't enough, he also denied the existence of hell. A physical heaven and a physical hell are inconceivable in a Copernican universe. He claimed that Christianity copied and borrowed from Mithraism and even compared it to other cults. And then he also denies the return of Christ, saying, in its literal form, this belief belongs to a pre-scientific worldview which we cannot accept.
So again, these are kings in his own words. Now, the person that's giving this video, they'll just say he's just racist. This is why I say that black folks struggle with context, because they make everything about race. And when you do that, you dumb yourself down. You lower your IQ. And so again, play this again. But this is King in his own words. King did not believe in God, but yet he said he was a pastor. And Chad was talking to this young man, and for some reason, that wasn't a problem. You have to ask yourself, if King had good intentions, then why would he lie by being a pastor? If everybody keeps saying that he had good intentions, well, if they were so good, then why was he lying? And what you'll find is that black people, by and large, do not have a problem with lying. They don't. Because they're going to say that what he did outweighs his lies. But the only way to get in front of you all was to lie. So now, is a lie good or is a lie bad? The Bible says that Satan is the father of lies. So if somebody is lying, they're doing the will of Satan. They're Satan's child. So my question is, how do we trust King if King lied to get where he was? He didn't believe in God. He didn't believe in Christ. He don't believe in salvation. So then why is he acting like a pastor? Why would he go through theology school? Why would he do all this stuff? Because he had good intentions? You mean to tell me he would do all of this lying and all this deceiving, all this deception because he had good intentions? Versus just being honest and saying, listen, I want to save black folk, but I don't believe in God. Hey, because he knew that if he said he was an atheist, black folks would reject him. So that means he purposefully and intentionally deceived the people. Now, I don't know where y'all are from, but I don't trust anybody that's purposefully deceiving someone, purposefully lying to someone to get a position of leadership. Let's continue.
Should Christians celebrate Martin Luther King Day? Well, considering the fact that he attacked key doctrines of the Christian faith, the answer would be a resounding no. You see, Martin Luther King, although advertising himself as an American Baptist pastor, was actually a Marxist communist who hated the Word of God. Now, you don't have to go very far to see this. You can go online and read his papers where he explicitly attacks key doctrines of the Christian faith. For example, when writing about the resurrection, he states, from a literary, historical, and philosophical point of view, this doctrine raises many questions. In fact, the external evidence for the authenticity of this doctrine is found wanting. And if that wasn't...
This man said that the Bible was not authentic. Let me write this down. Write this down. He said the Bible was not authentic. Now, we can all agree on this. I don't care what nobody says. I don't trust anybody that don't believe in God's word. Nobody. Let's continue.
enough, he also denied the existence of hell. A physical heaven and a physical hell are inconceivable in a Copernican universe.
No heaven and no hell. It's MLK now. So the Bible is not authentic, and there's no heaven and there's no hell, which means I can do what I want to do. No consequence.
He claimed that Christianity copied and borrowed from Mithraism and even compared it to other cults. And then he also denies the return of Christ, saying in its literal form, this belief belongs to a pre-scientific worldview which we cannot accept.
So it's so basically the Bible was only good pre-science, which means science, listen now, which means that science trumps God's word. Now go back to 2020 and they were telling you to do what? In 2021, what were they telling you to do? Now King just said that the Bible existed pre-science when man couldn't figure things out. Man had to make things up. Mythology, parables, stories, all this wise tales, folklore. This was pre-science. So what is he saying? He's saying that science trumps all that. What were the people telling us to do these past 3 years? They were telling us to trust the science. Remember that? Now who would have knew that trust the science would have went back to King? Isn't it funny how trust the science came from MLK? Trust the science was with Fauci. Trust the science was with Biden, Bill Gates, all these people. And you know what's funny? They all share similar behavior patterns. They want to lead the people into some kind of prosperity. They want the government to be heavily, look at it now. They want the government to be heavily involved. Who knew that Dr. Fauci and MLK would be so similar? King said, trust the science. Fauci said, I am the science. Prudence said Operation Paperclip was scientists trusting the science and actually creating new science. Thank you, Kenya. Same man, different person. And all black folks can tell you is that you still got to keep following this man. Somebody told me, why are you bringing this stuff up? Think about it. Think about you finding out that somebody has lied to you for years and you get mad at the person revealing the lie to you. That's called a reprobate mind. Most black folks are in a reprobate mind state, don't even know it. They don't even realize it. Y'all can't let King go. You can't let Marcus Garvey go. You can't let Farrakhan go. You can't let Elijah Muhammad go. You can't let Malcolm X. If you can't let these people go, then you can't follow Christ. That is a reprobate mind. That is the majority of black people. This is why I say they're going to usher in the Antichrist, because the spirit is already there. The mindset's already there. Come on. Come on. Where is my other clip? I had another clip. Hold on, let me find this clip. Let me see if this might be it.
I am a social activist and I am political, and so I'm more into action and not really the kind of
So how should that action? How should that action materialize though? What is a viable path? What does that action look like in practice in your mind?
I always thought we would use Facebook and other social media as ways to organize and look to the past for clues on how to move forward. But I'm never gonna sit here and just criticize, liberation theologians, and I'm certainly not gonna sit here and criticize King and argue back and forth about these people who sacrifice and work for their communities, because a lot of us just don't.
But Vicky,
I'm not really gonna go back and forth about you.
So again, this is a reprobate mind. Now, the assumption is, and this is for everybody, because King was assassinated, you believe that his message is validated. But I would argue that he was intentionally killed to validate his message. This is a communist tactic where they make a martyr. If you think about it, George Floyd, if he was still alive today, would be a degenerate. He's only immortalized because he's dead. George Floyd is a degenerate scumbag, but he's only revered because he died. That's how powerful someone's death is. George Floyd was causing chaos and havoc in the black community, but he's only revered because he died. So the death component of all of this is very strategic. And she keeps saying what he did, but can't really tell you what he actually did. What did he do? And folks have a hard time with it because people believe that integration is the same as desegregation. They're not the same thing. Saying that I have access, civil rights, I have access to society is different than you saying someone has to have me sit next to them. Two different things. And the problem is, this is how we know this was nefarious, because desegregation should have been enough because black folks had their own stuff. The fact that you wanted to integrate was a war tactic placed on black people Because what you ended up doing is you ended up destroying black businesses, which was the goal, because communists don't believe in private ownership. They don't believe in private property. They don't believe you on your own. They don't believe in that kind of stuff. So it makes sense that he would integrate to destroy the black independence. It makes sense. Nobody else has done that. Nobody else has duplicated that integration thing that black folks did. The Asians didn't do it. The Indians don't do it. The immigrants, nobody else has done it. And y'all believe that when King had y'all integrating, that it was genuine and from the heart. That's crazy. Because a good tree cannot bear bad fruit. So the results of the civil rights movement lets you know that the tree from the jump was bad. It's a bad tree. Let me jump forward. I think I played this last time I was on. Let me jump forward. Let me see.
No.
Okay. All right. Randy, what about you?
Yeah, just on the surface. And so what he was trying to do initially.
No.
Joseph H. Jackson. Are you familiar with the name?
No.
Okay. All right. Randy, what about you?
Yeah, just on the surface. And so what he was trying to do initially, yes, it did rival King. So I agree with that.
Yeah. And Joseph H. Jackson, you know, you can say, well, I say Joseph H. Jackson, he had the way. He knew the way. In the so-called black community, such as it is, they were more partial to Joseph H. Jackson's vision than, say, Dr. King's. Part of the problem in the 1960s was not the racial divide. The problem in the 1960s was the age divide, which is why Martin Luther King Jr., he courted the allegiance of the youth, because the parents of the young folk in the 1950s and the 1960s wanted no part of MLK because they knew, again, he was a troublemaker. Yeah. And this is what, when you had other activists such as Ella Baker working along with communists like Howard Zinn to draw a connection between the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the youth wing, as they called it, of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which was SNCC. Now, of course, if you know anything about SNCC, so it's funny, we're sitting up here debating and having these conversations about, well, who's a radical and who's this and was King this and was King that. Well, we automatically know there is no debate about what a man like Stokely Carmichael was all about, or a man like H. Trap Brown was all about. There's no denying that. So what is MLK doing co-mingling with a man in Stokely Carmichael? Because Stokely Carmichael, again, there was a whole, anyway, Neil, just for 1 second, going back, like Vicky just said, that she's not going to bash anyone who is a proponent of liberation theology and this, that, and third. Here's a quote of James Cone when he speaks of Christianity, so-called theologian. The Christian faith does not possess in its nature the means for analyzing the structure of capitalism. Marxism as a tool of social analysis can disclose the gap between appearance and reality, and thereby help Christians to see how things really are. So why would the father of Black liberation theology in James Cone say that it is Marxism that can usurp or trump the Christian's perspective when it comes to trying to understand how the world really is? Because we're dealing with, we are existing within the context of this so-called capitalism. I call it the free market system, or better yet, capitalism is the only so-called economic system that is in fact commensurate with the principle of natural rights. So according to James Cone, Marxism is how the Christians see the world when it comes to evaluating the economic system.
I am a social activist.
So in other words, what Cone is saying is that there is no God. Because if a Christian has to go through Marxism, when they get done with the quote unquote Marxism training, they're going to be atheists. So there's no God. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I meant to play another clip. this other clip I meant to play, but let me go to this real quick. I'm sorry. Let me see.
Sometimes I've been around black folk all my life, and I'm telling you that they are devoid of wisdom and understanding. They're good at sex and sports, but after that, they don't have understanding about the world.
So, and Chuck is trying to explain to these people, and the tough task that Chuck and Chad are having is to get people to realize that what King did was intentional. These people aren't stupid. And again, I talk about this where black people are given this virtue, like black people are morally superior, like they don't have bad intentions, they're not evil. This is crazy. King, in his early writings, Chad said the King at 12 years old denounced Christ, at 12. But guess what? He was a child prodigy. Dr. Martin Luther King denounced Christ at 12. Do you really think he's a good person? No. Once somebody denounces God's word, I guarantee their character is very flawed. Most of these conspiracies about the Bible and scriptures is because folks don't want to be accountable. Folks don't want to be accountable. And it's a tough task trying to convince people that King had nefarious intents. I think I'm going to save those. Let me go back to...
Jews that trace back to Africa? Absolutely. Are there remnants of the lost tribes in Africa? Absolutely. Are we still discovering more of them? Absolutely. Should the larger Jewish world welcome them? Absolutely. Are there some among the Hebrew Israelites that do have genuine Hebrew roots? I'm sure there are. And there are many that don't. And either way, let me say this one last time, what matters is this. Do we know Yeshua? Are we saved through the blood of the Messiah, whether we are black or white, Jew or Gentile? That is what matters. That's where we find our identity.
So, again, there are historical accounts of people that walk with Christ. There are historical accounts of this. This is not like this is you can, but again, black people are very arrogant. They're arrogantly ignorant. And so black folks don't research the truth. They research narratives. They research a person's point. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there to tell you that what's fake and what's real. So again, this person's telling me, oh, the Bible's, they got it all figured out. The Bible's an allegory, that all this is stuff. But I'll tell you this right now. The closest thing we've seen to the Bible is what happened over these past 3 years. There's no other book that has coincided with the past 3 years like the Bible has. And black folks are none the wiser. Black folks are still saying it's allegory. And these folks said that you cannot go into a business, you cannot have a job, you cannot travel, you cannot do this unless you get a snake bite. And black folks still ain't putting dots together, still ain't connecting the dots. Still ain't connecting the dots. Black folks still talking about all this stuff, and we just witnessed the Bible play out in real time, and black folks are still clueless. Arrogantly ignorant. But that's called a reprobate mind. That's what it is. It is a reprobate mind, and meaning it's beyond reach. It's not going to change. I've been saying this for 3 years, going on 4 years. Black folks are going back into slavery. Most black folks you see, I don't care if they're a Hebrew Israelite, I don't care if they're Moor, I don't care if they're FBA, I don't care if they BIPOC, but I don't know none of that. They going back into slavery because black folks don't have any wisdom or understanding. They don't have no discernment. And we are in the days of wisdom, understanding, and discernment. These are the days for that. These are the days for that. If the Bible wasn't real, then why would China be trying to change it? Why did the Catholic Church change it? Why does California want to get rid of it? Why do all of these industries and entities hate the Bible? Why? If it's just allegory, if it's just folklore, if it's just wise tale, then why are people going through such great lengths to demonize the Bible? And folks that believe, it don't make any sense. They said the number one threat in America was not the black man. The number one threat in America wasn't a Hebrew Israelite. The number one threat in America wasn't a Moor. The number threat in America wasn't somebody indigenous. The number one threat in America was the evangelical Christian white male. If you look up all of the threats and all the documents, they got Christianity number one. I even have a video of a guy talking to the government. He's talking to them, telling them, we done figured out how to determine whether or not someone believes the religious text they read. We can determine. We can probably spray something in the air to get that person to not believe what they, I'm just saying what they're doing. So my question is, if what you're saying is so right and so true, then why is nobody going against it? Why is nobody going against what you're doing? China is trying to change the Bible. Why would China want to change something that's already fake? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any logical sense. Why would China want to change the Bible if it's fake? All the government had to say was the Bible's fake. Why they got to change it? I tell us all the time, the slave Bible and the regular Bible were not the same books. The slave Bible was 20% of the Bible you see today. 20%. That means 80% of the Bible was missing. That's what the slaves got. They got 20% of the Bible. So this notion that slaves got the Bible, that ain't true. Because once you let y'all tell it, when Nat Turner read the Bible, he went on the killing spree. So clearly, there's no other book that somebody read that made them want to go after their oppressor. Now, I don't believe in Nat Turner myself, but if I go with the story, he's the one that read the Bible and said enough's enough. So give me a book that somebody read that made them want to go against the power structure. There is none. There's none. If you look through the media, the Moors ain't being attacked. The Hebrew Israelites ain't being attacked. The conscious woke people ain't being attacked. Black Panthers ain't being attacked. There's only one group being attacked with a concentrated effort. That means that the American media, the propaganda machine, the Chinese government, the liberal machine, the communist machine, all think about this, on a global scale, they're all saying we don't like the Bible. So if it's fake, why are government powers, why are folks investing time and energy and money? Why are they persecuting and killing Christians? If it's so fake, why are you doing all this for a fake book? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's fake in the world. They don't care about. If you believe in Buddha, nobody cares. If you believe in Allah, nobody cares. If you believe in Satan, nobody cares. People only care about you believing in one thing. And that's the one thing that y'all are calling fake. How crazy is that? The one thing that y'all are saying is fake is the one thing the whole world is against. Now, all the while, you got a bunch of these ignorant black folks, the Bible fake, the Bible fake, the Bible, and then one day, guess what they're going to say? The Bible's illegal. Then what you going to say? Then what you going to say? Then what you going to say? Oh, yeah, the Bible's illegal. You can't have that no more. Can we have the Quran? Yeah, you can have the Quran. How about Buddha? Yeah, you can have Buddha. Anything but that. Anything but that. The real unwoke said Christianity is not a religion, it's a reality. Somebody can't even say Christ, Jesus on TV. They editing their words out. Ain't nobody editing no more when they run in their mouth. Ain't no Hebrew. Ain't nobody's words getting edited except a person that say they believe in Christ. Ain't that crazy? But it's fake. Why they give the memo to everybody to say, don't follow this book. We got to get rid of this book. The Democratic Party went right to the black church. They didn't hit the streets. The Democratic Party didn't hit the streets, didn't hit the lodges, didn't hit the mosque, didn't hit the gyms, didn't hit the pool hall. The Democratic Party hit the church. You can't get these silly black folks that get no wisdom and no discernment, no understanding. They don't have any because their whole world is built around what everything looks like. You got the spiritual man, the natural man, the carnal man. The average black person is carnal. Pete said the Democratic Party is the church.
Sometimes I've been around black folk all my life, and I'm telling you that they are devoid of wisdom and understanding. They're good at sex and sports, but after that, they don't have understanding about the world.
What's up, Sartorio? What's up? Back in this, what's going on? So again, if we look at a large scale, just look at what they're doing behind the scenes as it relates to this Bible. They're going to combine three religions: Catholicism, Judaism, and Islam. They're going to combine three of them. They want a one world religion. And I'm telling you right now, when that one world religion comes, they're going to get rid of the Bible. Mark my words. They're going to get rid of the Bible. They're going to get rid of it. I'm going to say this to anybody again. All you got to do is sincerely ask God to show you the truth, and God will do it. But most folks don't want to do it because they're afraid. They're afraid of God to reveal the truth. Play this last video, then I'm going to be done.
Jews that trace back to Africa, absolutely. Are there remnants of the lost tribes in Africa? Absolutely. Are we still discovering more of them? Absolutely. Should the larger Jewish world welcome them? Absolutely. Are there some among the Hebrew Israelites that do have genuine Hebrew roots? I'm sure there are. And there are many that don't. And either way, let me say this one last time, what matters is this. Do we know Yeshua? Are we saved through the blood of the Messiah, whether we are black or white, Jew or Gentile? That is what matters. That's where we find our identity.
So again, you got a white man agreeing with everything y'all agree with. But you see, he did what y'all don't do. He completed the circle. See, y'all stop at what you think somebody looks like, what color you think somebody is. But the thing is, are you going to be saved, though? That's the question. Because your salvation won't come through your appearance. It won't come through a nationality. And for all y'all focus on nationality, I'm telling you right now, they're going to get rid of all the nations. They want a one world. I don't think people understand what a one world government is. No borders mean no nations. In the beginning, they said it was one giant landmass. What they call it, Pangea? Then it got broken up. What I'm telling you is that's what they want. They want no borders, no nations. They want a global citizen that's loyal to the one world government. I'm telling y'all this right now. They're going to get rid of it's going to be because every country is going to sign over their sovereignty to the one world government. Are you going to be saved? Thank you, Mad Sketch, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Cruise Missile, as always, thank you so much for blessing me. The True Chef set you free. Thank you, Star Baby. Thank you so much. And Vintage Goods Willie, in honor of MLK, let's all fornicate. That's funny. Thank you, Vintage Willie. That's a joke. Because, you know, King liked them orgies. But yeah, so again, the question is, in all of your endeavors, what is your motivation? You know, is your motivation love? You will find that most of these people's motivation is not love. They're not doing it to make the world a better place. They're just not. They're feeding their ego. They want to be in control. They want power. They're not trying to. So my question is, what is your intentions? We questioning King's intentions. We can pretty much figure it out. We know what King and Fani Willis's intentions are, but what are your intentions? What's your intentions? Is it really to help people, or is it really just to get your rocks off? Because that matters. Intent matters. So if you think about it, oh, I had one more video. I got to do it on Friday. If you think about it, Christ had to have pure intentions because otherwise it wouldn't have been a sacrifice. So think about this. His intentions had to be pure. They couldn't be selfish. It had to purely be an act of love. Like I'm purely giving myself up so that the world could be saved. Like it had to be pure. And not just pure, but it had to be cheerful. Do it with honor. Happily do it. Gracefully do it. Listen, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'll be back on Friday to talk about, that's right, Davos and WEF and all that stuff. But I'll be back. Thank y'all for tuning in today, and I will see y'all soon. Y'all have a blessed night.